What is up, y'all? How are you? It is Liam once again answering the question of the month. Happy Pride, happy June. We're almost halfway through the year, which is crazy. But this month is very important. There's a lot of history when it comes to HIV in the queer community and gay pride in general. Now, as of recently, we know the amount of othering that the government is doing, that haters are doing. It's important to belong to a group. It's important to have labels and ways to identify yourself, right? But some people seem to think that we all need to assimilate, we all need to be this one culture and have the same experiences. And now what we're seeing politically is gerrymandering throughout the state, which basically means changing representation of communities and the representatives that represent those communities. So specifically, Republicans are changing maps without a vote. So these are decisions that are not made by the people, right? So we are silencing the Black vote, people of color in southern states by removing their representatives. And this kind of ties in with HIV and the stigma behind HIV and the communities that are affected by HIV. One of my favorite sayings, I think I said it last time, we're all HIV possible, right? We're the human race, we're one race. But at this time, we highlight queer people and what they did in the 80s and what, lesbian folk did and queer and bisexual and all the trans women and men did back then to get us to where we are today. And it feels like all those things are being reversed. All the work that we did is being reversed. So this question, it's what mindset should we adopt to effectively move forward as a united community while respecting our individuality and differences. Right, we know that HIV affects you no matter your sexuality, your race, your financial status. So I think something I often hear when it comes to HIV around this time of month is people who are not in the queer community, are not trans, who, maybe aren't homophobic, but don't feel like they're represented as HIV positive folk, or they are put a label on themselves people put labels on them because of the stigma that HIV carries and the gay disease and, all that stuff we're trying to move past, right? And Pride essentially is about unity. It's about equity. It's about equality. It's about doing what you want and, not letting anyone else dictate that. And I think that goes for everyone. That's a human experience, a way we should go about life and respecting everybody's differences and, how they go about life and, whether we disagree or not. I hope that in my lifetime, maybe not, we'll get to a place where, all these labels and things, are now established and we don't need to say them so much. And, people in government right now think, oh, well, there's no more racism and, sectioning off representatives by race isn't needed anymore. But it is. We need lived experience. We need people with lived experience going out and speaking for these other people in these minority communities. And when it comes to HIV, it's I guess you could say a minority because, there's not everyone's living with HIV, but HIV, there are so many communities of people that are affected by that, right? Bears repeating, we're all HIV possible. So I think the mindset that we really have to, before what I think we should do, I think the mindset that everyone is in now is, survival mode and almost an amount of selfishness and, having to protect our peace and not really worrying about what other people, are doing. But some people have nothing better to do and take issue with that. So I think the mindset as far as, creating a more united community, I mean, it's almost a silly question, right? Like, what's the mindset that we need to be in to, make people in the HIV positive community or any community feel involved or loved or cared for? And it's just like the mindset's being nice and being empathetic, and the whole phrase of putting yourself in their shoes don't fit you, you don't like the color, they hurt, they stink, whatever, but those are their shoes. And once we get to that point in society where we just live and let live, and we were almost there, and but because we were almost there, we've been here before. So being kind to this mindset of empathy, not just sympathy. You could be sympathetic to someone, but if you have empathy and you act with empathy, you are taking their opinion and their life experience into consideration when you cast judgment. And, everyone judges everybody. So, the mindset we need to be is we're all here. This is our first time on this planet. We're figuring it out as we go, and so are they, no matter what their identity is now, and they might learn something new in the future. I'm rambling now, but it's really scary right now with the amount of legislation going on, and everything that's being pushed down our throats and the lies we're fed. But at the end of the day is, be an empathetic person and have this mindset of not giving up. It's really scary, and it sometimes feels hopeless, but we've been here before. Keep being kind, love thy neighbor, and treat people the way you would want to be treated. Be kind. Be a good person. Some people don't have the capacity to, so take care of yourselves, and love you. Bye.